Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this live market analysis. Um, and really just want to kick off with, before we look at the technical stuff, it's really important to get the bigger picture in terms of what's happening and what we should be focusing on for the coming week. And really from a macro level, from a bigger level, what we see is opportunity in the commodity sector and commodity FX, purely because oil prices are looking quite toppy. Positioning on them from the Commitment of Traders report are at extreme levels. And we've also got a whole host of commodity related news this week. We've got RBA Governor Stevens speaking tomorrow. We've got New Zealand trade balance. We've got the Canadian interest rate announcement on Wednesday, and more Aussie and dollar news towards the end of the week. So that's really where we see most of the action. And we'll have a look at some of the charts as well, because it's important, whilst you have a bigger theme in terms of a bigger macro picture, then you've got to time it right using your tech analysis and your strategies or whatever they are. But it's really, really important you start with the bigger picture. And the reality is that sometimes you're going to get it wrong, but the best thing about it is that it gives you a focus, because you've got to understand where the momentum is, and that's really important. Where are the bigger moves are going to be, so you don't just get stop hunted on a liquid market. So looking at first of all Aussie dollar, actually, because we tested this support level, that previous low, and we've just sold off on an intraday basis. So with this trend moving down like it is, we'll still be continuing looking for short positions. Like I said, we have the RBA governor speaking Tuesday, and the reality is that if he is dovish, then we're going to see this trend continue to the downside. Now, look, if he does come out hawkish, then we may get a move back up to the upside. But in any case, that probably will be sold into on any type of rally. So we'll be looking at hunting other people's stop losses. So for example, what we'll be looking to do is that if the Aussie dollar did pop up, then around these high points here will be good sell areas, because most people who have got their trading stop losses from the shorts will be taken out. So that's what we'll be looking at, and we'll be looking to sell Aussie and obviously buy a stronger currency. And we actually see strength coming up in the British pound. Obviously everyone is so short on the British pound. It is just trading within the ranges, but nonetheless this does look healthier than, let's say, the euro. Of course, the British pound is going to be trading in between the Brexit headlines, but nonetheless we've profited quite well from pound Aussie, and there's still going to be quite a few buyers here buying the dips until that fundamental picture changes. So pound Aussie has been a great one for us off late. So Aussie dollar, looking for intraday and end of day shorts, and I haven't actually traded this intraday yet. Did have some limit orders in and around this area on a retracement, but we just didn't get that, and it just sold off very abruptly, and that's fine. It's all about letting the trade come to you and not chasing it. We also see weakness in New Zealand. It's been a bit more resilient than, let's say, the Aussie, but we can see that the market has just retraced. Most people who got short off this pin bar, most people got short of that pin bar reversal. They probably wouldn't move their stops to break even, and we're just around that level there. So we expect to see further weakness where we are right now. We've also come into this area here. And again, a lot of people would have had, think about it, this massive sell-off, some people would have got involved. Their stop losses would either been here or here. Those have just got taken out and sellers have come into the market. So, what will happen over the next series of bars will be a very telling picture. If we start to see some failures, so let's say this was a pin bar, let's say that ended as a pin bar long, If the next bar after that ended up as a high test or a pin bar short, then that will tell me that there's weakness coming into this, and we'll be looking to sell into that weakness. Okay, we've already got sellers potentially coming to the market, but what we need to see is a failure. We need to see a failure from buyers coming into the market as well. So that's going to be quite important. So we see weakness on New Zealand dollar against the US dollar as well. And we're also looking at US dollar against the Canadian dollar long. Again, oil looks quite toppy, looks quite weak. Positioning on Canadian dollar is very extreme. And the professional market, the commercial market, are hedging their bets. So we'll be looking to trade Canadian dollar short, which is a US dollar CAD long. So we'll be looking at this again. Wednesday, we've got the Bank of Canada news announcement. But again, keeping it very simple, just breaking retest with simple highs. The market's going to come down to this level. We could get a bounce off here or either here. And those are the areas we're going to be looking at to get dollar CAD long. And on the back of that, because the Canadian dollar does look weak, we'll be looking to sell Canadian dollar against other stronger currencies. And CAD Swiss doesn't really look that great, but CAD Yen, we're in this channel. And with this channel, it does look quite weak. Really, with this channel, we've had quite a lot of tests on the bottom part of this channel, so that's telling us that that's more likely to break. What I'll be looking for is a close below this level, first of all, to confirm that sellers are coming into the market. And then once we have that, then we'll be looking to trade this to the downside. And the most obvious target would be the previous low here. Okay, so with obviously the Bank of Japan, they're talking about intervention, but the reality is they have to talk intervention before they can actually intervene. So they're not going to get involved in the market when the yen pairs are going up. They're going to get involved in the market when the yen pairs are moving down. So more than likely, this low will look to be tested at some point in the near future, especially if we get more weakness from the Canadian dollar. So looking at CAD yen, close below that support level there. And then from that point onwards, we'll be looking at short positions. Okay, so that's dollar CAD. With dollar Swiss, it's all about dollar longs right now, with the Fed talking about potentially increasing rates in the next meeting in June. So the Fed has been very hawkish from their Federal Reserve announcement last week. So many people will be looking for long US dollar positions. And so we just got to wait for the retracements. It's great for intraday trading. From an end-of-day basis, position trading, it's obviously looking a little bit toppy. Would want to be seeing, more of a significant retracement before we look for long positions. From an intraday 1 hour, 4 hour perspective, there's potential trading opportunities here. So, looking for dollar long. And best dollar longs would be to pair that against your commodity currency. So let's say against the Mexican peso, had some great moves on that from these lows here. So really looking for a retrace to these support levels, some previous highs, to get long onto this. Also, looking at the Scandinavian pairs, very oil-rich companies, oil-rich countries. So dollar NOK, we've been looking at US dollar against the Norwegian krona as well. And again, we can see various support levels. So once these support levels hit, we'll be looking at price action on the lower time frames to confirm that buyers are actually going to come into the markets. We've also got US dollar against the Swedish krona. I actually put in a trade this morning as it came into that support level and started putting in these higher highs and higher lows, and just had a short trade from there. Again, it's at the support level, so we could get a pop higher from here. So looking at dollar SEK as well. Dollar ZAR surprisingly has been very weak, even though we've had weakness in the commodity currencies today. But again, it's coming down to some decent support levels. So we'll be looking at getting involved in dollars are to the long side as well. Dollar yen, I'm a bit mixed on dollar yen. I see further downside to come, but a lot of people are already positioning themselves to the long side in anticipation of the Bank of Japan intervening. I think that's too early. They have to talk up intervention first to see if that works before they actually want to get involved in doing that. So my bias is to see further downside right now until we get a strong indication of buyers coming in. But this retracement just looks like it's profit taking based on hitting a big number, the 105 level, and also talk from the Bank of Japan. So I do see further downside to come. And we do have a high correlation with dollar yen and the stock markets, and we may see a further weakness in the stock market during these summer periods as well. But again, those themes haven't played out yet because we've got to wait for the technical picture to line up with the fundamental picture as well. But one of the good ways to play dollar yen will be to look at weakness in CAD yen, and to see strength in potentially some of the New Zealand yen, which has put in a decent base at these lows here. But again, you've got to wait for price action to confirm what we're looking at. So euro dollar, we can see that it does look very weak. Now, I think euro dollar is not going to be it's not going to be heavy this week. I think it's going to trade based on the flows from the commodity currencies, because that's where the action will be. We've also got strong pound news this week as well. But look out for the German ZEW data tomorrow for the euro. That could give some kind of indication on where this is likely to go. But clearly from this picture, the momentum is to the downside. Overall, you would say the trend is up. So again, it's a bit of a mixed picture. We are finding some resistance at this low point here, but it is Monday as well, so we can't read too much into some of the moves, because Mondays tend to be quite quiet, especially in a low liquid environment. Okay, so in a low liquid environment, you're not looking for your big trends, you're looking for your ranges, and you're looking for your stop hunts. Okay. So the positioning from a commercial point of view isn't actually that obvious compared to, let's say, Canadian dollar, which are at extreme levels in commercials, hedging themselves for a Canadian dollar move to lower. So the euro, again, is used as a funding currency. If people want to sell Aussie dollars, New Zealand dollars, they've got to do it against something else. So the euro, this whole rally higher, it hasn't really been on strong fundamentals. It's been the fact that euro has been used as a funding currency to sell commodities. So this will really depend, I think, on the commodity sector and what happens over this week. All right. In terms of British pound, we see strength in British pounds. We can see that the market is in a positioning mode. We've had such a strong move to the downside, and now the market is in a distributing mode, and we see potential further upside on this. Again, when the market based down here, that was your trade there, that was your second opportunity, and a potential third opportunity here. I would still be looking for long positions on this. Okay, we've got key news announcements out on the UK this week, but we've had some strong polls to suggest that the UK are leaning towards not leaving the EU. And you've got to remember, this whole downside move was the fact that the UK was uncertainty. The reason the British pound sold off was the uncertainty around, will the UK stay in the EU or not? Right now, polls are suggesting that we will stay. So we do see further upside on British pound. So, again, we'll be looking to buy British pound against the weaker currencies. So, we see further potential in euro pounds. So we can see euro British pound, classic kind of head and shoulders pattern here. Here's your kind of shoulder, head, another shoulder, telling us that we've got a potential break. So the short was here. So we had a short position here. You see previous high, broken through, come down. There's your retest. There's your consolidation because the market can't break higher. Here's your move down. And, we see further downside from this point here. So we'll be looking to sell euro pounds, which is also a pound Swiss long. So again, we can see that the market is testing these levels. So we'll be looking at pound Swiss long and euro pound short. Obviously, they're very correlated, so watch out for your risk management on that part. But that's what we see. We also see strength in pound CAD. Again, pound against the Canadian dollar looks decent enough because you're just matching up strength and weakness. Canadian dollar looks very, very weak. We see Canadian dollar coming down and we see British pound going up. So pound CAD looks good for us, and looks great on the intraday basis in this morning. Where we had that low test bar, and that pin bar. So I'll just be waiting for a retracement onto this. Haven't really been able to position myself on this just yet. So what I'll be looking is for some kind of retracement and some kind of pullback with a stop losses here. So pound CAD looks favorable for us for a long position, and the key what we do at obviously TradeVest is to line up strength and weaknesses, so you're not just searching 30 odd currency pairs just for a technical pattern, because yes, technical stuff works, but you need to have a driver behind why that technical analysis will work, right? You need to know that other traders will be using those technical patterns on the markets you're looking to trade. Okay, so which will be the markets that will have the most momentum. All right, so that's really important. You have what we call a top-down approach. Okay, looking at the bigger picture and then whittling it down to a technical analysis point of view. All right, so we do see strength in pound CAD. There were some positions here. You can see here. When the market tries to sell off here, sold off, and it just didn't move anywhere. And the market broke higher. So, we'll be looking for retracements on here. We've at least got a move up until this resistance level here, 1.19120. So from an intraday perspective, there's some healthy potential there. Even from an end of day point of view, we may get a decent breakout here as well to the upside. So, keep an eye on that. So pound Oz as well. This one does look a little bit rich to me, but again, great from an intraday perspective. So, we'll be looking to buy British pound against weaker currency pairs like euro potentially, and some of the commodity pairs as well. All right. So that was it for the majors. We also see weakness actually in gold and silver. Positioning was very extreme here at the highs, and it's been a little bit scrappy. But we do see further downside, at least up until these support levels here. So we're already short silver based on this engulfing bar here and this stop hunt of this high point. Classic pattern. I mean, it's the market, buyers get really excited, take it to a new high, comes all the way back down. Here's all your retail crowd getting suckered in to the longs, and then boom, these people just get crushed at the top here in this engulfing, and then a short position there. And each rally just gets sold. This pin bar, that gets sold. This pin bar, that gets sold. It's just telling you that the commercials, the professionals are just selling into the retail long position. So that's what we've been trading to the downside from for the past few weeks, and our downside targets are up until these levels here, these horizontal levels, resistance and support levels here. So still some further downside yet. Looking for a retrace if we get it to some of these significant resistance levels to trade it down to these support levels here. So there are opportunities in gold and silver as well. So there's quite a few markets on the cards from a currency point of view. Really, the driver we see will be crude oil prices. And the further weakness we see there seasonally as well. The seasonal pattern for oil does tend to lean towards the bearish side around kind of May, June, July period, especially after we've seen such strong moves. So that's what we'll be looking at as a driver for this week. So guys, I mean, that's it from me. That's our watch list for FX. Now, obviously, we've got a massive watch list, based from that FX, looking into stocks as well. But again, for this forum, it's all about how to use, your FX markets to position yourself with what's happening in the world right now. And those are the markets that we're looking at keenly right now. So keep an eye on those. And for any more information, connect with us on our website. And I'll be glad to take any questions. If you've got any questions on the chat box, I'll be glad to take any questions there for the next few minutes. Otherwise, I wish you all the best in your trading, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.